Hello, welcome to the When We Cry Book Club podcast, where we will be discussing Umineko's third episode. This is our fifth part of our summary and discussion following the discovery of Rosa and Maria's corpses in the Rose Garden, and Kyrie and taking Rudolph to the side to discuss a secret plan. Ooh, oh, no. I'm your host, Lorenzo.
Ambi.
Des.
What the fuck? That is not how we're gonna fucking introduce ourselves. Go back and introduce yourself all over again.
Okay, Mom.
I am a backyardigan. Ambi.
Well, I am Des. What the fuck?
I am one of the backyardigans.
What does that mean?
What are we doing? I'm Des. Next.
Okay, this is your friendly neighborhood mushroom, and I'm ready.
I'm also ready. There is an action-packed, well, not really action-packed, but there's a story-packed...
Discussion-packed.
It's action-packed, I would say. I say there's a lot of actions happening.
It's very eventful.
There's a lot that happens, but before we get into that, quick check-in with everybody. How's everyone going? What's going on with your lives?
I wanted to mention this, but I just listened to the episode of the one about the alternative theory. Lorenzo, have you ended up listening to it or not yet?
Not yet.
I just want to say, everybody, if you're basically jumping back into book club, you should go back to listen to that episode. It's very good. It's basically an hour and a half, almost like 2-hour extravaganza about debating about how... basically a theory is gonna work on EP3 Twilight 1, and yeah, it's a good time. I highly recommend it. I think there's a lot of, basically, it's an emotional roller coaster of content.
Yeah. It's a whole ass Prezi.
Oh yes, there's a whole visual.
Thanks to Jess for going in hard in the paint to bring us a giant PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, you guys got visuals?
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
It does have visual. And if you're worried about an hour and a half of a theory being too boring for you, don't worry, because it's not just a presentation. It's like any other episode. We got jokes. We got Mush telling me I'm stupid.
I feel like that's a lot of the episode. It's just me yelling at people. But yeah, there's even music. There's a lot of music cues in it, which is great. It really gets you in the mood.
I guess. Who else wants to talk about their life going ons, promos?
I don't.
I want to jump into the episode. I have nothing to talk about.
There's just so much shit to discuss.
Yeah, I have not been on for a while, so let's just jump in.
All right, cool. No time for life. Time to talk about Umineko. Woo! Yeah! From the top, make it drop. Although the adults decided to hole up in the guest house until the next day after, Rosa and Maria are found dead, Rudolph, Kyrie, and Hideyoshi go out to gather food for everyone. This is on the heels of Eva Bea, I'm going to call her.
Why do in every single episode you always stop to say, what am I going to call this person?
I know, right? Well, there's so many fucking names and pronunciations. Eva Bea, that's her.
Wait, just call her Ava Triss. That's so stupid.
Just let him go in it. I don't even care at this point. Just let Lorenzo
let Lorenzo invent a name.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call her Little Purple Bitch then. All right. How about this? All right, Little Purple Bitch. She's got a plan hatching. She's she got this whole lowdown on how humans and groups have high anti-magic power, so she's gonna be watch this, and she's gonna split the smartest people of the group away from everyone else. Wow. So Rudolph, Kyrie, Hideyoshi, they go out to gather food for everyone against the wishes of the one and only the only one with brains, aka Natsuhi. Rudolph and Hideyoshi are like, don't worry, we're manly men, we've got guns, we're stronger than Rosa and Maria and their stupid girly asses. So Ava's knocked the fuck out in the guest house. Hideyoshi argues that she'll need food in her weakened state, so the group of three rush over to the mansion while looking for the potential killer, and they open the locked mansion with a master key that they gathered from one of the corpses. Creepy. They bust inside the mansion, dash to the kitchen. Rudolph's like, I don't want to get Dad's stank on me. Let's get in and out of here. Eva Bea, Purple Bitch, materializes behind them, and they're like, oh, we got them. They're fucking dead. So she seals off the mansion with a magical barrier. Ronove steps in to commend her for being such a girl boss so quickly, but reminds her that she shouldn't go too buck wild with the killings, like Rosa and Maria's situation. Eva Bea is Purple Bitch understands the rule. It only matters how they're killed in the end, but Ronove advises that guns the group are equipped with are very anti-magic, which is super fatal for a witch, and witches technically need to guard themselves with barriers and furniture in order to disarm the humans, right?
Me when I guard myself against the gun with a chair.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Magic force field, you can't shoot me. Eva Bea is like, go, gadget, whatever, magical stakes.
Go bullshit.
And Leviathan, the Envious, and Belphegor, the Sloth, appear. They also remind her that the Golden Witch Beatrice told them not to be too cruel with killings, and Eva Bea is like, fine, just corner them until they succumb to the clutches of despair before you kill them. Ronove says, careful, little stake-ass girls, you gotta be careful because you're technically weak to guns. Like, in Shin Megami Tensei, whatever. The group in the kitchen, aka Rudolph, Kyrie, Hideyoshi, they're about to head back. Kyrie gets major bad vibes and feels an ambush coming on, and Rudolph tries to go through the kitchen's rear entrance, but it's stuck. And they suspect that they've been trapped, or like there's something weird going on, right? Belphegor and Leviathan appear before them, and 2 guns fire towards them, and they miss. They're very vague about who fires them, but all you know is like 2 of them try to fire at these demon stake girls, and Kyrie orders everyone to scatter, and the main goal is to get out of the mansion and regroup at the guest house. Leviathan chases Kyrie, Belphegor after Rudolph, and they turn into stakes and like bounce around the house like
Oh yeah, it's the best. It's like the best noise.
I'd say that's a good impression.
I love the basically it sounds like pinballs. Like it's the best sound possible.
Yes, exactly. They're like hitting bumpers. They're going
Yeah,
like, bada, bada, bada. Anyways, Eva Bea announces that she'll evaluate the work of these stakes, but Ronove advises against revealing her true form unnecessarily, but she says she's going to flex her witch dignity, girl boss energy in front of them. So there's this little action-packed Belphegor versus Rudolph fight in the second floor hallway. It's a very intense action scene. You get a cool Rudolph gun CG, little rad fight between the two before Rudolph gets conked by Belphegor, but he has a gun against her chest at point blank, and he fires the gun and it cuts to Kyrie versus Leviathan in the first floor hallway. It's a very good transition.
Yeah, this whole scene is very good.
Meanwhile, the music, I think World End Dominator is playing.
Oh yeah, because Mushroom, I remember you showed me. No, you told me like one of the first comments for that track. And I think it's pretty sure it's a quote from this scene.
Yeah, keep talking. When we get to that scene, I will read you the exact comment that it said.
All right, for sure. But there's also, between Leviathan and Kyrie, there's like this whole talk about, I am the stake of envy, and Kyrie is too bad for you. I'm the most envious bitch on the planet. Then you get this cool Kyrie gun CG in fight. I'm a big fan of this Kyrie CG, but it's about to get better. Cut back to Rudolph chasing Belphegor down into the main hall, and he runs into Eva Bea.
Well,
Rudolph readies his shot at Eva Bea. Belphegor intercepts and murks him, well, almost murks him, with Eva Bea mocking him. And we're cutting back again to Leviathan versus Kyrie, and they get a little Leviathan backstory about her being fueled by a little inferiority complex. But Kyrie gives us a little exposition dump with her beef with Asumu.
This is where the line. So, I always associate the World End Dominator with the ending of EP2. But if you go online to see the best of Umineko BGM World End Dominator, which has 1 million views, 1.7 million views, it has actually the third comment on that says, "You said you were jealous for your sister for 7 days and 7 nights, Leviathan." Yeah, that's right. Kyrie says, "Don't make me laugh, girl. How could you understand the madness of a woman whose man was stolen from her and who she had burned with envy for 18 years?" And then it has 1K likes. It says, "This part always gives me goosebumps." And that's how I know the World End Dominator also plays in this scene. I think it plays very rarely. That's why I think that's why people associate it with 2 specific scenes.
It's quite epic.
I don't know. All the ZTS songs just kind of blend in together.
Ooh, don't say that. We're gonna get killed for that.
I know. I mean, I don't blame you, but yeah, she really said, "You little girl, this envy has been cooking up for 3 days. It took 3 days to cook this potato salad." But so Kyrie is all about being envious for over 18 years because of the Rudolph Asumu Kyrie love triangle.
Yeah, she talks about how she has the miscarriage,
Yeah, she had a miscarriage, and Asumu gave birth to Battler, but that's some beef that we'll get into later. But she goes on to say that her undying jealousy of the late Asumu has made her a crazy bitch, and she has this sick ass. If you liked the gun CG she had, it gets even better with her little crazy face. It's quite good.
Shout out to Fata Morgana. You know what I'm talking about, wink.
Yes. Oh, Ambi still doesn't.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get that reference in due time.
Yeah, I'm not saying any more than that. I'm just saying for the people who know what I'm talking about, you get me.
Read Fata Morgana.
Yeah, read Fata Morgana.
Door 3 represent. Anyways, Kyrie says, "See me when you learn what true envy is, little girl." And then it cuts back to Rudolph versus Belphegor in the main hall. Rudolph's in bad shape because Belphegor's absolutely pegging him, and he's about to get gibbed once and for the last time, and he requests a final duel to the death with the little state girl. So they do it Western style. They face back to back, 3 steps forward, away from each other. They turn around and shoot, but he pranks her and fires his last shot at Eva Bay instead, and Belphegor intercepts and gets shot. Rudolph's like, forgive me, I'm such a coward, ooh. And Belphegor says that she was lazy and didn't realize what she was truly thinking, and melts like the Zelda Wizard CDI scene, and he's like, "You've killed me!" And Zelda's like,
Good.
That's what Rudolph did to her. It's like, good. Kyrie busts in, ready, and they both ready their guns at Eva Bea, and Eva Bea summons more, better furniture, and Kyrie says, "You better stop! Stop!
Dance of the Moon Rabbits, let's fucking go!"
Right? Stop acting weird in front of us, Eva. What the fuck are you talking about with this witch bullshit? And shoots at her, but a magical barrier, suspends it in midair. Like Jess, you were saying, when I use a chair to dodge bullets. She literally just says, "No!" She points out the gun and says, "No you, Uno reverse." And introducing more characters. Siesta 410, or was it? How would they say it in English? But I say 410 and 45. Coco ni.
410, and it makes sense. It makes sense for what it is supposed to be. So, yes.
Right.
Wink,
right.
wink.
Also, side note, I just want to leave it on record that I have modded my Umineko visual novel a bit. I have edited the 410 sprites and gave her a mustache on all of her sprites, which I had forgotten about until I reached this part. So it was an interesting surprise that I did for myself.
It's very cute. It's going to be the thumbnail for this video.
Yes. Stashed 410 for the thumbnail.
Honestly, their designs are kind of killer. I mean, everyone's designs are killer, but I really like the Chester designs, even though they're bunny girls.
Oh, no, Chester's designs are amazing. I mean, 410 is objectively probably the best.
Yes, especially with the mustache. I don't know, Stashed 410 awakened something in me.
Right, tropes and all, they're quite pleasant to look at. I will say that much. Let's continue. Kyrie and Rudolph are no match for these anime bunny girls, so they make a break for it. Oh, and before I get into that, apparently they're higher level furniture that even Beatrice couldn't summon. So Ava means business. So Kyrie and Rudolph are running away further deeper into the mansion for whatever reason, I guess. Ava sealed the mansion off in the magical barrier, right? So they have nowhere else to go. The Chester sisters, they lock and load, Code Lyoko style. They fire a heat-seeking arrow, getting fired on their ass, and it murks both of them in one hit. And Ava Bea loses her shit yet again, claiming that she's no longer human but a witch. Golden Bea steps in and tells Ava, what the fuck are you doing? What did I just tell you? Don't, torture them like this. And Ava's being a real brat and says, it only matters how the bodies end up, right? I know you're just saying this because your pussy-ass boyfriend can't handle whittle-baited gore. If he has an issue with it, he can speak directly to me. And then Beatrice explains that he's in a different plane of existence and therefore can't directly interact with her. And Ava Bea replies, in that case, can you give him a message? Tell him to fuck off and die forever, you raggedy-ass bitch. Also, by raggedy-ass bitch, I don't mean you. And then she's directly staring at Beatrice.
That is such a great scene.
I know, right? It's I know I just said I called you a raggedy-ass bitch, but I don't mean you, as Ava Bea looks directly into Beatrice's eyes.
Looks at camera.
I know, snarky ass.
Bruns, I think you did a great job summarizing the scene, because it's literally just tell him something more for me. Okay, what do you want me to tell him? Fuck off.
Fuck off.
Exactly.
And I think, I also have to say, I don't even think Eva knows who Beatrice is talking about. So it's funny because Eva in this scene is I don't know who your friend is, so I think it's probably a woman, right? So that's why I tell that old hag to fuck off and die.
Exactly.
And also when I wanted to intervene when we were talking about the Kiria scene, but then
oh yeah, go for it.
So I find it really funny the way Kiria wins, because it just turns into a a math battle where it's just like, okay, but if we like multiply all of the days of my suffering plus this and subtract that and like the square root of this shit, it's like, what are they doing?
I just have to say that is not even remotely the worst math battle in Umineko.
I know, but it's still so fucking funny in the middle of an intense battle. Kitty is just like, hey, yo, girl, like, look at this map.
Oh, 100%. Like, Umineko, if you thought, like, there's anything more powerful than, like, basically magic, is magic math.
Math.
Is the more, like, math. Yeah, worst magic battle does not even happen then. Like, if you thought this math was, like, getting aggressive, like, bitch, you don't even know anything that's gonna happen in the future.
Back to Eva Bea just like killing Rudolph and Kyrie, and Bea descending down into the plane of Rokenjima, telling her to cool it. Eva Bea questions Golden Beatrice why she cares so much about this parallel universe guy, and she catches on that witches usually don't use their powers unless somebody believes in them, but Eva Bea is simply just built different.
She's built differently.
So she doesn't really need anyone to believe in her. Anyways, Beatrice responds that, like, grr, fine, we'll see what happens when you go willy-nilly with magic. Be my fucking guest. In the metaverse, Virgilia comments on how Beatrice scolding Eva Bea is similar to how Virgilia herself scolded Beatrice about being too rash in front of Battler, right? She also brings up that Beatrice's main goal is to have Battler believe in her. Beatrice cries, like that crying cat meme, saying that Battler already hates her because of her previous fuck-up by, like, laughing at Rosa and Maria's death in front of him, and she doesn't know how to, get Battler to believe in her again. And Virgilia assures that despite that, there's still a way to reach out to him. She's just got to figure it out. So back in the main hall in Rokenjima, Eva Bea is mutilating Rudolph and Kyrie's corpses over and over, edgy middle schooler style, but Hideyoshi comes in, because, they didn't chase him, apparently, and tells her to quit it, asking her why she had to kill Rosa, Maria, Rudolph, and Kyrie.
They didn't chase Hideyoshi because Eva Beato specifically wanted to spare Hideyoshi, because, Eva, it's Eva's husband.
Exactly, right. Because Eva Bea argues that the gold has given her unlimited power, and she's like god tier, above everybody else. And Hideyoshi says she needs to grow the fuck up, and slaps her shit. And he says something along the lines of, if you're a witch, you're the kind that belongs in the kitchen. Like, he deadass says something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty like,
Hideyoshi.
bruh.
Hideyoshi.
And in response to that, the gun near Rudolph's body apparently fires a gun at Hideyoshi, killing him, apparently by Eva Bea's hand. She says she originally planned the sacrifice to be somebody else's planned, but he was getting in the way, and he dies with his eyes wide open, staring into Eva Bea's soul, and it freaks her out a little bit. Just a little bit. She tries to play it off, but she'd really be crying over her dead husband. He didn't really have to die, but he told her that she belonged in the kitchen, so take that, Hideyoshi. So Eva Bea continues the ritual and orders the stakes to gouge them, even though they're like, no, icky, I don't want to stab a body that I didn't kill myself. But I digress. Cut back to the adult Eva in the guest house, shooting straight up from her nap, screaming over Hideyoshi. She's apparently had another dream about murdering them, like how she did with Maria and Rosa. In the guest house, everybody's been waiting for the group of three to return for over half an hour, fearing the worst. Natsuhi's all freaked out, like why they even left in the first place, because she knew it was a bad idea, and Kraus just says, "Silence, woman!" Eva bursts into the guest house lobby, frantically searching for Hideyoshi, freaked out about the dream that she had where she was murdering everybody as Eva Bea, and they decide to investigate the mansion to see what's holding the three up. So Eva, George, Battler, and Nanjo go see what's going on, and they discover the 4th through 6th Twilights, aka the demon stakes gouging the forehead, chest, and stomach, completed with Rudolph, Kyrie, and Hideyoshi's deaths. Battler's already used to it by now, and according to Virgilia, sorry, this is like the meta level characters, Meta Battler's already used to it by now at this point. And according to Virgilia, there were signs of a struggle against the assailants. Ronove makes a snide comment about how Eva Bea actually followed the rules this time instead of presenting Battler a steak gouged in a pile of meat, which would have been a very funny visual, and also gives Battler the hint that the fact that the corpses were left in a respectable state, aka not mutilated, was thanks to Beato in the first place. Yep. But Ronove, surprisingly, won't confirm the deaths with Red because at the moment Battler is outright shutting out Beatrice or Beo Beato.
Anything goes.
Fuck. Is refusing to play with Beato, who has executive power over using red. So the story won't continue unless we kind of figure out what's going on between them, right? Ronove and Virgilia guilt trip him into accepting Beato's apology. He's calmed down enough to the point for her to reappear in front of him, but she has like trouble verbalizing an apology to him. She just kind of goes like, hey, Battler-kun, so she can't really get the words out.
Not even with the help of the two best wingmen.
I know, right? But we cut back to Rokenjima, where Battler is losing it over his dead family. I mean, like, what a baby. Nanjo insists that the deaths were instant, but Ava's saying that they probably could have saved them. Des, were you going to say something?
I was going to say that at least it's better than whatever Butler was going through on the first episode. Like, what was that reaction, man?
Right. But there's like this whole thing I'm about to go into, but fucking George pities Battler for losing both of his parents. He's like, it's okay, man. At least I still have my mom. Lol. And Battler replies to George that he's the one who has it hardest because he's the dumb banana slut. Like, you didn't just lose your parents, you also lost Shannon. I don't know if this was like a translation error, but Battler says you didn't just lose your parents, even though Ava's not dead.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
What I did notice is that Butler is super fucking weird. He's just like, yo, George, are you holding up well? And then George's like, yeah, bro, no problem. I'm holding up well. Well, you shouldn't. You just lost like your fucking father by crime, man. What are you doing?
Exactly. They have like a pity pissing contest over who's the saddest, and Battler wins and makes George cry like the little piss baby he is. So you're right. Battler really be winning.
I do have to say, like, that scene is surprisingly pretty good. It's about showing vulnerability, you know?
It's very emotional. I won't doubt that.
Yeah, it just came out weird. It just came out as Butler being like, bro, you need to cry. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, you got to be strong. I mean, not strong, but you got to be vulnerable. It's okay to cry. Like, you literally had your world crumble before your eyes. Don't worry about George, even though we hate you. Meta Battler gives Beato the lowdown on respecting the meaning of one's life. Kind of some deep stuff. We can go into it now, or we can go into...
I don't know. Do you have anything to say now?
There's like a lot of meaning of life kind of discussion between like this scene where they're grieving over their lost family, and Meta Battler's like telling Beato like, you see this? This is why you can't disrespect life like how you did with Rose and Maria.
This is a very good scene, yeah. I mean, this is basically the beginning of how, like, Beatrice is like, oh, I don't understand why Balor's so mean to me. Like, I'm just trying to kill a human to entertain him, you know? And then basically, like, Balor's like, do you see this? Like, do you see this boy cry? Like it's like basically like, this is why you shouldn't do all this shit.
Right. Yeah. He says, Battler tells her George went against all odds to marry Shannon no matter what. But Beato's like, but he's George. I mean, look at him.
I don't know if this was mentioned, but I do have to say, I don't remember where the scene is. I think it's between like the George scene, but it's mentioned that George used to be a more timid and like more weak-willed person, and then only after dating Shannon he became more like a strong-willed and to a more controlling person.
Exactly. They really hit home in this like in this sequence and like beyond that Shannon made him a better man, I guess.
She can fix him.
Made him stronger.
Yeah, basically. Like, as it made him the person he is instead of like what he like used to be. And I actually think that's very interesting because, I mean, George got a lot from, like, his parents, but I feel like there is something that he also got from Shannon. But anyway, let's continue with that.
Shannon transformed him from a beta to a sigma. But, Ambi, were you about to say something?
Oh, I was going to say, it's the whole dynamic feels like, oh, she can fix him.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's hilarious.
That is pretty much what happened, and that's why George is like, oh my god, I do have it the worst. Anyways, Meta Battler concedes that Beatrice showing him these murders is in fact her way of quote unquote living / resurrecting her, but mutilating corpses like an edgy middle schooler is cringe. Virgilia pipes in to say that endless magic is a dark art and witches with the power basically have no bounds. So Beato, quote, I've been told not to break vases, but that's why I wanted to break them. And when I learned that I could fix them no matter the damage, I also learned that it's really fun to break them. Harking back to the beginning of the episode, or no, was that episode 2? No, it was the beginning of episode 3. God, it feels like a while.
This is going to be 50 hours long, so you know.
Right, with the flashback about breaking the vase, but you know, it really gave her a little really made her feel hot down there. Really razzed her berries, you know what I mean? Battler asks Virgilia why the endless magic even exists, but Virgilia explains that magic exists to bring happiness to humans, and witches are sort of the conduit between humans and non-humans to bring blessings throughout the human world. Wow! Which sounds like nonsense, but that one SpongeBob episode where he's like, this reminds me of this one time when I saw this magician and anyways, he told us, with a tiny pinch of magic, all your dreams will come true. Like, that's pretty much what she's saying.
Yeah, except in Umineko, stuff like that usually means something.
Yeah, it's pretty deep, even through all the fluff. That was a pretty important line. But Virgilia also implies with her use of magic, she could bring Battler's dead family back and also bring back the good times. But as we know, the endless magic would also return them to dust, like in the beginning of the episode, where she could fix the vase, but only temporarily. Battler turns to Beatrice and says, in that case, you're doing a real shit job with your endless magic because you're just using it to show me, like, you know, edgy middle schooler killings. Battler then asks himself why he's even playing this game with her in the first place. And
Me when I play Fire Emblem.
Me when I play Fire Emblem.
Me when I just play any video game.
Vibe. He realizes that the whole point of the game is accepting Beatrice as an endless witch in the quote-unquote truest sense, and she still hasn't learned to play nice. So, in the meantime, he's going to suspend the game and make her do some soul-searching in order to find out what the point of the game is, right? Mm-hmm. She gets all pouty, and she says she can't but help wear her heart on her sleeve and say, like, hey, I really wanted to play with you, and I don't know what to do. Whoa. She like puffs out her cheeks at him. And Battler encourages her by saying that there's still hope for her because she's showing that she's not a completely heartless bitch in front of him, right? She's like, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to like play this game with you. And
Yeah, but Battler's growing more sympathetic towards her, and then Beato is also becoming less of a heartless monster.
Less horrible.
Yeah,
yes, exactly. He tells her that he'll be waiting for her, but also won't go on easy on her when she returns from her little, you know, mind journey or whatever. Back on Rokkenjima, these 7 survivors are back in the barricaded guest house. Morale is low. That includes George, Battler, Jessica, Nanjo, Ava, Natsuhi, and Rudolph. Cross, sorry.
Yes.
Yep. 7 people in the guest house. They're all holed up. The adults are on the ground floor. Rudolph's group's guns are in Master Key are missing, so the guns that Hideyoshi, Kyrie, and Rudolph had, they're gone. The key that they had, gone. So the survivors are susceptible to the culprit absolutely going ham on them. The adults are holding the fort downstairs, forcing everyone else to stay upstairs. George is all mopey about Shannon and how he wasn't strong enough to protect her, but he appreciates the time they spent together and how she changed him. There's a little bit more deep talk about mortality between the cousins and how suddenly losing someone doesn't give you time to prepare. I mean, obviously, but Ryukishi decided to like spread it out over a long fucking conversation, but whatever. They also suppose that Kinzo was all up in Beatrice's biznatch because of his undying love for her, and she probably, you know, he probably did eventually meet with her with all these revival ritual killings. The culprit, Beatrice, was revealed herself to him. And then Battler pipes in and says, but he got totally roasted in the end. Damn, Battler. But on a more serious, sentimental note, Battler believes that all the time that Kinzo spent going crazy with his occult stuff was probably all worth it to him in the end, because he ended up meeting with Beatrice, the Beatrice that he was so obsessed with.
Yeah.
I mean, lucky bastard. He actually met Beatrice in real life. But whatever. So Battler actually gains a little respect for this magic, but George doesn't and says it's a little facetious. Like, goddamn, George, read the fucking room. He doesn't know what true love is. Anyways, George is like out getting coffee for everyone else, sulking about Shannon in the hallway out loud, and Meta Beato is listening in on him. So she somehow connects to him. She like speaks to him, and he's like, whoa, what the heck? What's going on? And she materializes in front of him, and she says, I got this little spell that requires the help of somebody else, but I can revive Shannon with you. And he's like, whoa, what? So she appears before him, on Rokonjima and takes him to Shannon with some sort of floating magic that bypasses the adults guarding downstairs.
They literally just start walking out of the window and then fucking leave.
They literally just like float through the window and they
Peter Pan.
somehow lock it behind them. Which is interesting because the windows only lock from the inside, but we'll get into that. But meanwhile, in the Rose Garden, Eva Beatrice, the Chiesters, Lucifer, and Ronove are in the garden planning the next sacrifices. And the Chiesters are distinctly marking out 2 targets plus Eva have been locked onto in the guest house. Eva Beatrice notices something, aka George and Beato flying through the air over the rose garden, but can't really suss out what it is. And Lucifer and Ronove play dumb and say that they don't notice. You know, they're still kind of loyal to Beato, I guess, huh? Back in the guest house with Eva, Kraus, Natsuhi. Eva is stubbornly refusing to let her guard down despite her fever. There's a little conversation between herself and Eva Beatrice. They say that the new witch and Eva have fundamentally become the same thing, which is, Eva concedes that physically seeing the gold drove her crazy, and Eva Beatrice is just like, shrug emoji at her. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, this is us now.
Yeah.
It's my gold.
Look at
I
us.
love how, like, basically Eva's like, bitch, you think the gold made you crazy? You were born crazy. Like, I was always in you.
Exactly.
Like, you're like,
She's
you
like-
thought you could, like, fucking say that this is all, like, this is, like, a different part of you. This is you, bitch. Look in the
Yeah,
fucking
this
mirror.
is you. Exactly. She's like reinforcing that Eva Bea is like her childhood grudge and greed and obsession with the headship and gold. And Eva Bea admits that they killed Hideyoshi, by the way, because he was such a beta. But adult Eva caves into the guilt, sort of. She isn't about to, like, confess. No, she's going to do more killings. Eva wakes up back in reality, having a little coughing fit, excuses herself from Kraus and Natsuhi to go to the bathroom. Kraus and Natsuhi have a little heart-to-heart about Kraus being a shitty older brother and who still cares for his family, and how, like, the Ushiramiya name is kind of, like, the cause behind all their misfortune.
Yeah, like, it's just, like, it's a cross to bear. Like, Kraus talks about, he's like, yeah, you know, I did a lot of shitty things when I was growing up. Like, it said a lot of, like, fucked up shit to, like, Eva. Probably made her the way how she is. And then, like, Natsuhi's like, well, you know, I guess. And then Kraus is like, I should probably go apologize to her, you know, that's pretty shitty. And then Kraus is like, nah, you know, it has been a long time now. I don't even think her wounds would heal at this point. And
She
then,
probably doesn't even remember, you know.
yeah,
Natsuhi.
yeah. And then Natsuhi's like, well, I guess so. Like, I guess it's great. Like, at least it's good for you to, like, think about that. And he's like, and then they just basically, they're like, yikes. Like, I guess, like, Eva's now my only sibling, so I guess I have to take care of her now. Like, basically, is
Right.
what they're saying.
And they're like, screw the Ushiramiyas. But they're like, better not say that in front of Eva or else she's going to murk you. But then Eva Bea goes ahead and does with the Chiesters. And it drags their like little golden spaghetti, like murders them and also drags their bodies out into the outside the guest house.
Okay, wait. I want,
Yeah?
because
Yeah.
I had a note here and I forgot what it meant. But now that you said that, I remembered. I wish we just pulled a quote that Natsuhi said. It was like, if only you and your siblings hadn't been born into the Shiromiya family, you might have had a more normal, a more fun sibling relationship. I wanted to talk about this because I think this is the first time, and I'm not sure if it's the only one or not, when we see Natsuhi badmouth the Shiromiya name. Like, what is this, Natsuhi?
Oh, yeah, huh?
That's true.
Oh, fuck. Good catch.
That's a good catch. That's true. Like, and it's true that what Natsuhi said is correct. Like,
Yeah.
everybody in this family would probably be a happier person if they weren't born in the Ushiromiya name.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think this adds a lot to Natsuhi's character because up until now she was just like, I am the Ushiromiya defender. No one shall badmouth Ushiromiyas in my presence, you know?
Yeah, and then she's like, you know what? This actually kind of fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But yes, very good catch. Because, like, there's a lot of Natsuhi moments in here that I'm like, yes, queen. Love her. Adult Eva returns to the guest house lobby, confused as to where Kraus and Natsuhi disappeared off to. We cut to George and Beato in the guest room in the mansion, observing Shannon's dead body, and they're performing some sort of resurrection ritual. Beato is slightly moved by George mourning over Shannon and how his magical power, his yearning for Shannon to return, is enough to do some good endless magic to revive her. They do end up reviving her. George and Shannon hug it out, and it apparently sapped a lot of energy out of Beato, but Virgilia praises her anyways. And at this moment, I like how it drains her because it's like she felt like reviving Shannon to reunite George is like so cringy that she's like, I don't want to do this. Fine, I'll let this happen for you guys. I'll let you guys be all gushy and mushy in front of me. And then she's like up against the wall, exhausted. She's like, oh my god, that was so cringe.
She was like, that's such a bad idea. I mean, at the same time, like she's basically like, I don't even have that much power as a witch right now. Like this is such a fucking stupid moment. Like I can't believe I'm doing this, but exactly. I guess I'm like trying to prove to Battler I'm a better person, and I guess this is the first step I can do that.
Right. So all's good until the Chiesters strike again and kebab George and Shannon, and also Virgilia, taking them out. George thanks Beato with his dying breath, and Beato's like, damn it, you bitch! You bitch! Like, that's what is written in the English translation. I really like that line. And Eva Bea is cackling over, ripping and tearing them apart. You know, the ripping and the tearing. And explains that Virgilia assisting with the resurrection is grounds for punishment, so she also eliminates her. She's explaining that to Ronove, I think. Back at the guest house, Battler and Jessica tell Eva that George is now missing along with Kraus and Natsuhi, and they're a bit puzzled as to, like, how they exited the guest house in the first place, because all the windows and doors were still locked from the inside, so there's another locked room situation they gotta break out of. And Eva loses it again because her son's gone, I guess, her precious George.
Georgie!
I know, Georgie! Pink guy, where'd you go?
Georgie! We're maximum cringe.
I don't think that was ever in question.
Not wrong. I mean, we did read Umineko.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get it. I mean, let's be real here. Battler acknowledges that George's motivation to see Shannon again is like, you know, probably explains the reason why he left, but is a little bit confused as to where Kraus and Natsuhi left, or as to why Kraus and Natsuhi decided to leave the guest house. Nandra suggests that there's probably like a hidden door that they exited out of, but, you know, as us, the readers know, the red truth will not allow that. Battler noticed that the windows can be open and closed silently without anybody noticing, so it'd be easy for somebody to exit the locked room if somebody else locked the window from the inside for them. So he starts, you know, getting suspicious of Ava or Nanjo because he knows that Jessica and himself didn't do it. But then helping somebody escape the guest house by locking the door behind them would incriminate themselves, right? So like if the culprit was somebody from the outside the guest house, they just leave the window open. So that's like why the hell would they lock the door from the insides if, you know, with this many people, with only 2 suspects really, why would they do that?
Yeah. I find it really funny that Bator, who is always the one being like, hey, yo, guys, let's just not fight each other, you know? This doesn't lead to anything. He's the one who points out, hi, so I think there may be an accomplice between us. Look at his window.
Right? There's someone among us.
I was trying to not say that. But okay, Lorenzo. I was specifically trying to circumvent that expression.
I've got Mocha's brain. You gotta kill me. So Nanjo acts even more sus and suggests that this is the work of the witch trying to confuse them and prove her existence to them. Instead of sitting around, they all decide to investigate outside, Ava equipped with the only gun that the group of survivors has left. Battler's losing hope that they'll make it out alive, and he says, yet again, when the seagulls cry, sorry, I fucked up that line. Yet again, Battler says, or the narrator says, when the seagull cries, fuck. They say, yet again, when the seagulls cry, none shall be left alive. Umineko no Nakakoro ni whatever. And that's the end of this chunk of the summary. Sorry it took so long, but we are about to delve into spoiler territory. So If you haven't read further or finished Umineko, thanks again so much for sticking with us.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next time. Sea cats do crimes. Log off before we spoil the rest of Umineko for you.
See ya.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Spoiler discussion! There is so fucking much to talk about. Where do you guys want to start?
Mushroom, do you want to start since you have like a whole thread of thoughts?
I feel like Mushroom has an entire list.
I do. Okay, so just before we get into it, I wanted to tell you how... so I think like this was 3 weeks ago, but even before we recorded or the previous episode, both Des and I were idiots. So we read A Battle to the Death in the Hall before this, and then so we were both really excited about it, and I wrote a bunch, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited. And then I was really excited to record this episode, and later on, like today, like yesterday, when Des was like, "Hey, we're recording this episode tomorrow. Do you remember?" And I was like, "Fuck! Like, do I even remember all the notes I was gonna write for this episode?" So I was like, "Hey, Des, do you remember any of my notes?" And Des was like, "I don't remember." Of course, because I told you not to tell me about the notes because I wanted to basically like authentically react to them on the episode. So I had to basically, and so I just speed read that part again, and then basically send Des like 20 messages writing down all of my thoughts as notes so I could talk about them.
Imagine waking up to 20 notifications only from Mushroom out of nowhere.
Flashback to Fata Morgana read through.
Still not as scary as waking up to 200 messages from me when I was reading Fata Morgana. I literally, it was so intense. I wrote crazy shit when I was reading Fata Morgana. Anyway,
Umineko.
Anyway, so let's start. This one is easy. So my first question, why did Kiria and Rudolph went to the, like, guest house? Or is that May Mansion?
The mansion?
May Mansion?
Easy. They suspected Hideyoshi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They knew, and then also, I think in the lobby, when Rudolph runs into Eva Bea, he's like, "Oh, you're Ava, aren't you? But you're probably going to say some crazy shit like you're the Golden Witch since you found the gold already, huh?"
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, Kyrie figured it out already. She was acting really suspicious.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, Rosa's death didn't help her case.
Yeah, of course.
We learned later on the episode that it was because of a cigarette butt that Kiria found.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, the cigarette butt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clear because that's the whole thing is about, like, well, Hideyoshi as a family man would have never smoked cigarettes in front of Eva, who has a headache, who hates smoke. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All of that happens later. So Des, did you wanted to talk about how, like,
the logistics,
step by step?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Because here's what I had thought about while I was reading. So, of course, Kiria figured it out and then told Rudolph and said, like, "Yo, let's corner Hideyoshi on the mansion and question him." Mm-hmm. And so that's what they do. They're like, "Hideyoshi, come with us," and then he does. And then Eva either hears them going on the hallway, or Hideyoshi does like, "Hey, before we go to the mansion, let me just tell Eva that we're going to the mansion so that, you know, she doesn't freak out if she wakes up and doesn't see me here." And then goes into the bedroom, kind of tells her that, and then dips, and then Eva like whips through the window, as she does, tails them into the mansion. And then once they're in the mansion, we already know that Kiria does that whole word trickery to get Hideyoshi to give her the gun, while Hideyoshi takes care of the cart.
Yes.
And then we see Kiria kind of notices something. She's like, "Oh, I think I heard something." And I think that was Eva getting into the mansion. Because, like, Eva was going to the kitchen to confront them because, you know, Rudolph would have had one gun, but then Hideyoshi would have also had one gun, and then Eva had the other. So it would have been 2-on-1. Mm-hmm. But then when Eva got into the mansion, she heard Kirie do the word trickery thing and heard Hideyoshi give the gun to Kirie. And that's where Eva just suddenly stops and is like, "Shit, I can't go into the kitchen now." And I think that sudden stop may have been what Kirie heard, you know?
Yeah.
So then Eva hides within the mansion to prepare like an ambush, because that's kind of the only way she can realistically win.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And when they are leaving, that's when the skirmish happens, because Eva prepared an ambush. This is what I was gonna say, except while Lorenzo was doing the summary, I thought, wait a minute, they took the master key, right, so that they could unlock shit within the mansion.
Yeah.
And we can just assume that they did not lock the mansion after they got in, and that's how Eva got in, right?
Right.
But then that leads us to another question, because they tried to leave through the kitchen door and it was locked. But if they had the master key, then why did they not unlock
the door? Because at this point, Saya is still alive, right? Like, helping Eva orchestrate everything?
No.
They probably... No?
We're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
It's probably that Eva never runs into Yasu. Never.
Okay.
Like Sayo. Never ends up running into Sayo. Because throughout the whole dialogue of how later on we're going to get to, which is the next episode, where how Eva's reacting to George's death, she does not know who killed George at all. Like, her reaction is like, she's just like frantic. Like, that's one of the reasons why she runs out of the room with her gun, because she's basically ready to shoot anybody who's not the last 3 people who are also alive with her.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Right. So, was there like any indication like the kitchen door entrance was like harder to open for whatever reason?
No, they just say it was locked.
Well, no, I think they just mean it doesn't budge. They just said it didn't budge. I guess like
It
they're
was
like
like
even
stuck somehow.
Yeah, they were just stuck. I think it's just
Oh.
stuck. I think they had keys.
Then that could mean someone put like
Something in front of it.
trash.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine Eva probably just blocked it with like some object.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because they have keys with them. Because he just said the keys doesn't work. That's the whole point. They're like, is it
Okay.
stuck somehow? And then they like try to bunk it.
Then maybe what Kirie heard was actually the trash thing being put in front of the door.
Yeah, like
Oh
anything.
yeah, somebody budging the door. But then, what would like the in real life explanation of the stakes appearing before them?
Okay, yes. Okay, great. Are you excited? So this is my point 2. So Lorenzo, point 2 is why are the Chester sisters invented and why do we discard the Seven Sisters?
Yeah.
So that's actually one of the biggest things I was thinking about when I was reading this part. I was like, what is the point for basically Eva Beatrice to invent new characters to be her furniture? I mean, in the meta reason, it just says like, oh, I don't like taking things that are hand-me-downs. Like, I want my own furniture, shinier furniture, like furniture that could do my bidding.
Yeah.
Right. I'd say. Or are you gonna explain it? Because
Yes, I have an explanation, but do you want to put
okay,
your thoughts in
because
first?
I was gonna say. I mean, like the Chiesters are a way for Ava to do killings without leaving demon stakes, and the demon stakes are like integral to the ritual, right? So
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Chester. Okay, what's the difference between Chester sisters and the seven stakes? Throughout the whole time, the Seven Sisters are not, like the Seven Stakes are not used for confrontation. They're used for basically sneak ambush. So like Chester sisters are fundamentally different from the from the stakes, because the stakes are like basically disguised as like a ritual killing. They're like magical. Like you don't even know like where they're from. They're very personal things that like they're tied with like a mystical setting, like with the actual seven stakes that like kings will have.
that's why they didn't like killing people who are already dead. Is that also
Well,
like
no. I'll get to it.
Okay,
So,
go for it. Sorry.
So the Seven Sisters. So that's what the Seven Sisters are. That's why Beatrice uses the Seven Sisters as like her killing weapon, because it basically masks what would actually have killed them. Because in previous settings, we know that like people were probably killed with like poisoning, or people were killed with gunshots, but then she puts in the seven stakes. But the seven stakes are basically like a camouflage for like whatever is the true murder weapon, which is
nice.
in case
Yeah.
So the thing is, Siesta sisters basically like what I really think, meta-worldly speaking, is that Eva was basically trying to ambush to kill like Kitty and Rudolph the whole time. Like she was probably trying to shoot them from the dark, and then she was just like not a good shot. Like Eva just probably couldn't land a shot on them, and then she was just getting frustrated, and then she decides like, and then basically Renove says like, oh, you can't do this, like, you know, like you're not powerful enough like to like summon more things. And then Eva's like, no, I can. And Eva summons the Chiesta sisters, and Chiesta sisters are called what? Like they're called Chiestas 410. That's literally like, if you have any brain, you will be like, oh, it's Winchesters.
I have no
it's
brain.
Winchester You didn't know that it was Winchesters?
No.
I
I mean,
immediately
like the
was like,
translation's a little funky.
No, it's okay. I didn't know either. Mushroom had to explain the whole thing.
Yeah,
for to me.
I only learned about that when we created the server, and Anon told me about that.
oh
So
my god.
server trip to the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose. Woo woo! Come on, guys.
Yeah,
come on over.
it's so disappointing because I used to live near the Bay Area. Anyway, I'm just sad that I've never been to the Winchester Mystery House. But anyway, so like you were
All right,
already
we'll hit round one up. We'll hit Winchester House
yes.
when you
Yes.
come over.
Lorenzo, next time I go to California, we're all gonna meet up and we're gonna go to the Winchester Mystery House
Yep.
together.
hell
But
yeah.
yes, so we already know that like there's the Winchester like sawed-off shotgun. So that if you look at the word Chester sisters and then you look at the word 410, I mean, depends on which kind of dummy you are. You'll be like, oh, it's Winchester's 410 millimeter. Like it's like they're talking about bullets. And I mean, like
Yes.
the Chester sisters are not even like they're not even that hidden. They're not mystical. They're literally shooting, like, they're snipers. They're snipers shooting out golden arrows, whatever that means. But it just basically, like, it's very easy to go from, like, oh, they're fucking guns. They're just guns. Eva Beatrice basically invented these rabbits who are basically just
really
guns.
Invented guns.
She invented the gun.
So the point, what I'm trying to say is that, like, technically speaking, Siesta sisters and the stakes are born from the same idea, which is that they're just guns. Like, the Siesta sisters are guns, the stakes are guns. Or, I mean, the stakes are not guns, but the stake is basically there to mask the guns. But, like, I think it's something extremely interesting that Eva basically... I think the concept of how she invented Siesta sisters is that she steps up to the plate to kill them. So, like, basically, she tries to ambush them with seven sisters, which I mean by just ambushing them the whole time, and she realized she couldn't get a straight shot. So she literally just showed up in front of Kirie, like, shot her in the face, and then, like, and that's how, like, or, like, shot her in the stomach or something. I don't actually remember what
You're
like,
right.
and then, like, literally showed up in front of Rudolph and then shot him because she realized there's zero way for her to kill them as ambush, so she just, she just confronted them and killed them.
Yes. Is that what you mentioned earlier when Ronove was like, hey, it's kind of bold of you to, like, reveal your identity in front of everyone?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because, okay, this is going to be fun, but Beatrice actually never shows up to kill people in a setting unless Shannon or Cannon was in their room at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, Beatrice doesn't show up for killing.
No, she...
Like, she showed up, because think about it. She showed up to kill Cannon and Jessica, and Cannon's in the room. She showed up to kill George, Shannon, and Goda, and and that's Shannon in the room. You don't actually see any killing by
Beato. Are we not counting?
By Beato?
Are we not counting the end of EP1? I know that was the bomb, but Beato kind of showed herself.
She did show up for that killing.
And also Kinzo.
Well, yeah. But, like, that's the last 30 minutes. But that's the last 30 minutes. That's the last 30 minutes. Anything
Okay,
can happen.
what about Kinzo, like, then?
What do you mean by Kinzo's?
Kinzo died after seeing Sayo in Beato's dress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what happens. Isn't that what just
Beatrice
happened?
is present for all the deaths.
Yeah,
her point exactly.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Beato's present for all the deaths. That's just what it is.
Oh, okay.
Like, you don't see her. Like, what I'm trying to say is that, like, Beatrice doesn't actually show you how she killed any of the first Twilight people anytime. Like, or not anytime, but, like.
Yes.
What I'm trying to say is that, like, it's bold for Eva basically to announce, I'm Eva. I'm to shoot you. Just gonna fucking shoot you now, and then she just shoots both of them.
Right.
Okay, I get what you mean now.
Because Beatrice is trying to basically mask her murders with, like, the sense of, like, magic and mysticalism, how it's, like, done in a very elaborate way, and, like, Eva doesn't give a shit about that. Eva's just here to, like, get away with a murder and shoot people in the faces.
She's here to get that bag. But yeah, that's a really good observation, Mushroom, with the Chiesters. I, like, never thought of that. But that's a very good explanation as to, like, you know, their reason for existing, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, Siesta sisters is just very different from... I mean, the thing is, like, Eva has a very different approach to killing than Beatrice.
Right.
Like, it's, like, completely different. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna we're gonna pause on that because I want to jump back to the scene of Kirie's speech. Okay, let's talk about Kirie's infamous speech about envy. That scene is loaded. That's one of the most important scenes because not only she mentions that she's like, you know what? I fucking hate everybody. Also, I hated that bitch ass woman called Asumu, and I'm glad she's fucking dead. You know what? If she wasn't dead, I would have killed her with my hand anyway. But you know what the best part is? She just fucking just died on her own accord. She talks about how she had a miscarriage 19 years ago, or not 19 years ago, like basically 18 years ago when Battler was born, and how she's like so fucking pissed about that, and how she gave birth to Anjay because that she thinks that she could like basically that's her rear with like
revenge baby.
Her rear to like clutch onto
Rudolph.
to Rudolph
To
and all
baby
that
trap
stuff.
Rudolph.
Yeah, to baby trap Rudolph, and like how she's and it's great. It's a good moment to basically set up all of the evil Kiria things. It's
Right.
such a good scene.
I was gonna say, before we like go even deeper into that, let's go like from the beginning of the encounter between Kyrie Rudolph versus the demon stakes. So Kyrie is pitted against the stake of envy, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, because of that whole thing. But Rudolph is curiously paired up against the stake of sloth. But you're like, okay, so how does sloth play into how Rudolph's character is, in essence? And I think it becomes more apparent the further the fight between them go, where like Rudolph fires at Eva Bea, and then Belphegor's like, oh my god, I was so lazy I didn't know like his true intentions. But that can go and show like, obviously, Kyrie has her beef with Asumu. She's jealous. She's fueled by this rage against Asumu just like getting all up in her mans. But Rudolph's also kind of the dick for, doing the whole baby switcheroo on them, and also not facing the truth, like, not being honest with his family.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what the sloth aspect comes in, because, he didn't try to reach out to Battler, as far as I know. He straight up lied.
Yeah, or he didn't do a good enough job. Yeah. And I mean, like, I think the Belphegor thing was more explained, where Belphegor is like, I try to be more competent so then I could basically lazy a man. Like, basically, her specialty is that she's really competent, so she can make the person she's serving to be more lazy, basically, or less think less. And I think it's interesting because I feel like it really goes into how, like, basically Rudolph kind of just like handed his life to Kiria to manage, and Kiria just managed everything.
Yes, queen. But also, fuck you, Rudolph. He was also apathetic to Rosa's bullying, so he was kind of like, a bystander in a lot of his life growing up, and like other situations.
I mean, like I think Des on the previous episode was like, then why didn't Rudolph just like go help Rosa when she was like
why wasn't
a kid?
He a family man?
Like, why wasn't he a family?
And you were like, that's a bunch of what ifs.
Yeah, exactly.
Rudolph's just a dick, straight up.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, like, I don't think Rudolph would have cared. Like, Rudolph just doesn't care. Like, Rudolph is the third son. Like, he doesn't...
Rudolph is a middle child.
Yeah. He didn't need to bother about this. He was also the youngest child before Rosa was born. He was actually probably happy that Rosa's born now, so they can find, like, his older siblings could stop picking on him, and he could just pick on, like, Rosa with them.
Right. I think, the cycle of abuse? He had the power to stop the whole, like, abusive cycle, but he went with the flow. Yeah,
but,
that's
like,
exactly what Des said previously.
I mean, I just don't. I mean, he can, but a lot of people can.
Yeah,
so, like,
but that's not what I mean. What I mean is that it was easier for Rudolph than it was for anybody else.
Sure. I mean, was it truly to be easy? Okay, so let's go back to the scene where Hideyoshi dies then. Let's get there.
Okay.
Who killed Hideyoshi? I feel like that's a very easy answer. Does anybody want to have any thoughts on it before I tell you the answer?
The story paints it as, it says like the gun near Rudolph's body was used, but
Yes.
I want to say it was Kyrie, maybe? Because, I mean, I want her to be the, at least get one killing,
Okay,
She's a girl
so
boss.
so I think like in both versions, so in both the manga and the VN version. So the VN version says this: the gun which has fallen in the corner near Rudolph's body was floating in the air, the smoke lingered near the barrel. I think it's clear that either Rudolph, that's probably Rudolph who shot Hideyoshi. And in the manga version, if you look at it, it also just shows the gun that's next to Kiria's body float up and shoots Hideyoshi. So basically, Rudolph, Kiria, either one could have shot him easy. Like, it's definitely not Eva's intention,
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the first two kills, one is an accident, the other one is basically damage control. But these two people she actively killed with, like, malice, basically.
Right. And then she plays it off like, oh, this is part of, like, my resurrection, or, like, my journey to headship. Like, you stupid man, you didn't have to die like this.
No, I think Eva on the game board was actually heartbroken.
No, I 100% say. Like, that's true. Like, I think Eva truly, like, I feel like Eva at that point is like, wow, I just killed 2 more people. Oh, fuck. Like, I guess,
Yeah.
like, am I feeling joy? Am I feeling sadness? Like, what the fuck am I feeling?
Yeah.
And then, like, Hideyoshi shows up and was like, what the fuck? This wasn't as planned. Like, I thought you were just gonna
know.
confront them, not, like, fucking shoot both of them dead. Like,
And then he straight up says, "You killed Rosa and Maria too. Like you killed like 5 people already.
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong
I mean,
with you?"
I know Hideyoshi definitely knows that she killed like Rosa and Maria, and I imagine like
Right.
he probably thought like, oh well, like that might be an accident, and you know like maybe it's best for Maria to die before like with her mother, like that would probably make her the happiest, like blah 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 blah. But like I think in Hideyoshi's mind, he probably thought like Eva was gonna show up and basically like make out a deal with like Kirie and Rudolph and not just
Yeah.
like shoot them to death, basically.
Okay. I actually want to say something about that because we have discussed why Kirio wanted to lure Hideyoshi into the mansion, but we did not discuss what they were gonna do after that. Like even if Hideyoshi confessed, or like if he did not, like what was their course of action? So I think both of them were gonna kill Hideyoshi. Did he confess or did he not?
Right.
Because it was super obvious. He was at least in on it.
Yes.
And then after killing
Oh
him,
yeah, 100%.
and then after killing him, they would go back to the guest house and then tell everybody like we have something to say, and then like tell them they killed Hideyoshi, but why they killed Hideyoshi, and then corner Eva right then and there. I think that was what they planned
Yeah.
on doing.
Yeah,
Right.
I imagine they were probably gonna say like we killed him out of self-defense or something. Like they could.
Oh yeah,
probably
or
spin it
that.
way.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just for shits and giggles, I will show you what the anime version made the
God.
killing look like. I just want everybody to look at it. It's just a random gun away from Rudolph and Kirie's body floating up and shooting at Hideyoshi.
I hate how the mansion looks on the
Oh,
anime.
man.
It's
Fuck
on
the anime.
it's the gun on the other side of the room. I was watching the anime with Ambi and I literally screamed. I was like, that sucks.
Wait, is Kirie's body the black legs that you can
No,
see?
the black legs you can see
That's one of those.
is.
Yeah, okay. So you can't see them. Okay, gotcha.
I'll show you what the
That's
manga
stupid.
version looks like. This is what the manga version looks like. You can clearly see it's a gun that's floating. It's next to Kirie's body, you know?
Yeah.
I gotta say, I like this scene a lot. Just like the Hideyoshi, like, what the fuck, man? This wasn't part of the plan. And then Ava's like, shut up.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah.
Money.
So now, after we talk about all of that logistics, that killing logistics, let's talk about that really fucking loaded scene where Eva Beatrice is talking to Beatrice.
Yes.
This is basically Beatrice trying to explain to Eva Beatrice how the game board works. So she talks about how she's having this basically like fighting this fight on a different plane of existence than Eva Beatrice's. So this is actually very interesting because I feel like this is the first time you're introduced to the concept of peace magic people.
Yes.
So like Beatrice is basically like, stop killing like this, and then Eva Beatrice is like, psych, I'm gonna keep doing it.
So wait, before we get into that, let's establish that this forgery, or like I guess this episode, was what the general public's opinion on how Ava did everything,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because like, was it the end of this episode? Angie comes in at the end of this
Correct.
episode, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then next episode. Okay, cool. So before we get into that, it was Ava survived. Everybody's pinning her as the actual murderer, and she's like really bitter about like the public opinion, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will also have to say like this is probably Ikuko and Toya's first work. Yeah, we probably
Alright,
established
cool.
that. This is all the greats. It's the greatest hits of Dorokenjima mystery.
Okay, so that better explains like the whole situation between, you know, the relationship between Ava, Bea, and Badler, I guess, because there's that whole line about you tell that raggedy ass hag, don't tell me what to do. This is my story.
Yeah. I will also have to say there's another note about that, which is this is very important to establish the whole Eva culprit theory, because this EP is not only where basically Toya and Ikuko writes the greatest hits about how Eva is basically a heartless bitch and kills everybody. It's also the EP where they basically write Kitty and Rudolph as the most sussest fucking people possible.
The sussiest bakas.
Because Rudolph and Kiria basically, like, you could read, like, Kiria is like a straight up monster. Like, she's ready to wield that gun. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's conniving, yeah.
So this is also the Rudolph Kiria culprit theory. I imagine, like, this is how that comes up about, like,
they were going to kill Hideyoshi, right?
Yeah.
They were gonna kill Hideyoshi.
Yeah, Mushroom, didn't you mention something where this is possibly like a combination between Sayo's version and Ikiko's?
Oh yeah, so yeah, I think we mentioned this before, like, if we were to take the manga version to be correct, or if we were to take it in thoughts, and we say Ikuko did find Confession of the Golden Witch, she probably just meshed a bunch of shit that she was reading that was mentioned in Confession of the Golden Witch into the first story that they wrote, which is Banquet. And I imagine, like, Banquet was basically like Yukuko and Toya being like, oh yeah, they think Eva did it. Let's write about how Eva killed everybody. Also, Kiria and Rudolph, kinda sus. We're also gonna write him like super like horrible. But anyway, I wanted to like move on from that because I want to talk about how Beatrice basically wants other people to think that she's valid, while Eva decides that she's sick of waiting for people to acknowledge her.
Right. The power of a witch, right?
She needs validation to exist.
Yeah. So then right after that conversation, basically Virgilia shows up and she's like, you know, like, this is torture for you and for Battler. Maybe you should change your strategy a bit. It's about Northwind and the sun. And
sun ass, yep. Gotta coax him into believing you. But then Ava's like, I'm built different. My power comes from what I'm assuming is like her bitterness towards like everybody thinking that she actually is the witch.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so let's talk about what's actually happening in this conversation.
All right.
I am of the theory that Sayo and Eva never meet, so this conversation doesn't have a counterpart in reality, basically. But I think what is actually happening is that, like, I think beforehand, Eva is trying to establish a lot of alibis. So, like, right now, she's, like, still trying to see, like, how she could, like, establish her alibis of, like, killing of Rudolph and Kiria. But, like, at the point where she actually kills Kraus and Natsuhi, she gives up. Like, she doesn't even care. Like, she did not even establish an alibi for herself. Like, Jessica basically straight up said, like, you bitch, you fucking killed my parents. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Using magic is the idea of, like, creating alibis is basically, or creating an illusion of, like, I couldn't have done this murder. But
like you said, with the demon stakes.
Yeah, but, like, I feel like in the end, she just didn't care.
Yeah, she was like, I'm gonna end up with all this gold in the end. Like, who cares about the heart of the story?
Yeah, because, she doesn't care about the heart of the story. Do you think Eva knew that the island was rigged to blow up? She did, right?
She would have to.
I think at the end, she was like, oh, you fucking Beatrice. Or, because the confrontation between Eva and, like, Golden Beato, there was this whole, I think before she kills Sayo, like, Sayo's like, it doesn't matter in the end or something like that. I'm just guessing, but I don't think she kills Sayo.
Okay, that's actually a really good thought. What were you gonna say?
Because, like, how does she survive, right? She, like, hightails it off the island.
It's not.
She doesn't have to hightail off the island. All she needs to do is go to the golden room and then keep going, and then she will be safe enough to live.
Exactly. Like, it's really easy to explain how Eva survives. Either the gold room, aside from that note telling whoever reached the gold room that as long as they told Nanjo the killings would stop, probably also had a note saying, hey, there's a hidden passageway and a bomb.
Okay. Actually, Des, I will have to say this, actually. I don't think whatever the note said about Nanjo at all.
Then how would the killings stop? How would Sayo know?
I mean, I just imagine, like, I just imagine Sayo just say, like, leave that light turned on. I would know. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, Nanjo doesn't have to equate and be in that equation. Like, because I do agree. Why would there's any reason that, like, Eva wouldn't immediately lose her shit and fucking kill Nanjo if she knew that, like, Nanjo, or, like, interrogate Nanjo. I imagine.
Okay, that makes sense. Yes, okay.
Wasn't Nanjo killed by Sayo himself?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
He was like, wait a second, you're... and he was like, oh, man.
Yeah, exactly. Nanjo was killed by Sayo anyway. So, like, this is actually what I imagine. I think I can go both ways, but I do agree with Lorenzo that I think maybe the whole reason that Sayo basically came back to the mansion to visit Jessica is basically just, like, put her somewhere and tell her that she's going to be fine while she, like, blows up. And I think she just basically confronts... I imagine, like, this is, like, literally the last minute. Like, she confronts, like, Eva and was like, wow. Like, and I think at this point... Or maybe at this point, like, Sayo was still thinking that maybe like Battler would solve it, so she like basically showed up to like find Battler.
Okay.
So she probably showed up, found Battler, and then watched Eva shot Battler in the chest, and then basically was like, "Hey Eva, like, you know what? Good job, fucking murdering everybody. Like, just for your information, like this fucking island's gonna blow up in 30 minutes. Have fun." And then just like, and then it doesn't matter if Eva like shot Sayo again. Like Sayo doesn't give a shit. Like Sayo doesn't want to live.
Okay, Mush, I actually have a theory about what Sayo was doing this whole time that kind of answers that, like if you want to believe it, of course, which also ties in with George's death, because I think Sayo, after being stripped...
George's death is very obvious. I feel like George...
We haven't even got there yet. No, yes, it is obvious. What I'm gonna say is something else. I'm not gonna say that Sayo killed George, because that's, of course. What I'm gonna say is that, like, after being stripped of the title of Golden Witch, Sayo, of course, went into a identity crisis, and so she kind of just sat there in the parlor where Sayo supposedly died, and waited for one of the three being Jeska, George, or Butler, waited for one of them to solve the mystery and go meet with her on the parlor. And then George shows up. And wait. And then George shows up. Except George did not show up because he solved the mystery. So one could theorize that because George did not solve the mystery, Sayo killed him there. However, because we do know that Kanon and Jeska meet at the end and speak a bit before the island blows up, I'm actually gonna say that Sayo, after having all of that time to rethink her whole life, after, you know, being stripped of the title of Golden Witch, Sayo, after finding George, actually decided to tell him everything. And she will do the same with Jeska later on in the episode. Except George is either too overwhelmed to take it, or Sayo ends up being overwhelmed themselves and ends up regretting it, and that is why George ends up being killed by them.
Oh, that's amazing. That's actually that's a shocking thought.
It's super cool,
like
isn't it? And, like, I think it's super interesting. And then Jeska shows up. And then we do know that Kanon is like, yo, Jeska, let's go to this safe place and just talk about stuff.
Whoa.
So I do think that Sayo also told everything to Jeska.
I like that idea.
Wait, is this also the scene where Sayo actually tells Jessica the fake name that she came up for canon?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't remember.
What is that name? I completely forgot.
Yasu?
It's Yasuda something.
In the case of Sayo killing George in the parlor, I guess, how would that explain the Chiesters, you know, being the ones doing the killings? Because we went into that whole discussion.
It doesn't. I mean, that. I mean, it's the same idea.
I'll tell you how it explains, and it will also explain the conversation between Eva Beato and Beatrice that you were saying did not happen, because while Sayo was sitting there, she heard the skirmish in the hall. So after it all happened, she went there and placed the stakes, right? And then went back to the parlor. And then had a lot of time to think about stuff and come up with magical scenarios to explain everything as she was just sitting there.
Well, no. Shut up. I don't. We can't really rope the concept of having magical thinking on the ground and like also like narratively how to write it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what happens in reality is what happens in not what happens in reality.
Why couldn't Sayo not think about it? I think it fits.
Okay, sure. Okay, but wait, what was your question, Lorenzo? About so yeah.
The Chiester.
Okay,
so your explanation regarding the Chiesters
yes.
and how it plays into George's death.
Okay, so let's talk about this. It's clear to us that whoever does the magical killing doesn't actually match up with who actually did the killing, because it's said that Eva Beatrice killed Hideyoshi, which we know that Eva didn't actually kill Hideyoshi. Mm-hmm. Or later on, it was said that Eva Beatrice killed Nanjo, which she also didn't kill Nanjo. So if we were to say like, why is the Chesta sister kills George instead of like the stakes? Because like, I guess narratively speaking, it makes sense, because at this point in the meta world, Eva Beatrice has retired all of the 7 stakes. She's like, I don't give a shit about you guys.
Got you. Okay. I like the implication that the way that George left was because maybe Ava was the one who is like, hey, I'll let you go see Shannon's body.
No. Nanjo.
Nanjo did.
That's 100%.
Oh, what?
No. It's not Nanjo. You want to know who it is? You want to know what happened? So, Eva.
Oh, you think it's Valor? Do you think it's Valor?
No. Eva, we know Eva killed Kurao Senatsuhi, right? And she had to go to the gazebo to place the bodies there. So George saw the door open, didn't even think about it because he was just that desperate to go see Shannon, and then dipped.
Oh, shit.
And then Eva came back and locked the door.
Okay.
And he didn't even realize George had left.
Oh, he snuck out. Oh my god. Okay,
Oh,
cool. I
you-
like that idea. Because they were in the Rose Garden,
Yeah.
right? Like Ava Bea and all the magical
Oh, okay.
people
Let's
were...
talk about that. Did Eva drag their body all their body from the guest house to the Rose Garden? I don't think so. I feel like that's a lot of work.
She probably didn't.
Yeah.
It was probably Sayo who saw Eva doing all of that. Or no. Wait. Okay. George saw Eva dump the body somewhere, and then when he met Sayo, and Sayo told him everything, George also told Sayo that he saw Eva drag some corpses. And so Sayo, after killing George, went back, picked up the corpses, put them on the gazebo, put the stakes there, and went back to the parlor.
That is ridiculous. That is the most ridiculous idea.
Why is it
That is
ridiculous?
so
She's just
fucking-
reconstructing.
Okay, so-
constructing the
so-
rituals as she has done before.
You truly okay? So like the concept is like Eva probably just left their bodies like outside in a dark place, and then Sayo's like, I'm gonna put them in the gazebo just to fuck with people.
Yeah, because that's what she has done. She placed stakes on the bodies on the hall. Eva did not do that.
Yeah, I mean that's easy, but dragging two people is way harder.
She would have to because nobody would find the bodies where Eva would have placed them.
Oh, true. Okay. That's very true. Oh my god, that's actually really true. Because Eva doesn't want these
I like
bodies
that,
to be
yeah.
found. Eva has no
Yeah.
interest in... Eva does not want these bodies to be found. Okay. Since we are here, let's just talk about Eva's murder. Eva murdering...
Oh, sorry. Which murder? I wanted to go back really quick to when everyone's like, hey, Rudolph, Curie, and Hideyoshi are taking a really long time, and then Ava bursts into the room like, oh my god, where's Hideyoshi? Because she like snuck back into her room. She's putting on a whole show,
Yeah.
right? And she like attracts everyone's attention. That's really sneaky. How she like creates an alibi for herself, I guess.
Yeah, she basically like stops everybody's conversation in the foot she basically tries to go in and immediately controls people's conversation. Because she's like,
Exactly,
because
and
they
she's
could,
like-
if they kept wandering, they can be like, I wonder why did Kiria decide to go? Like, she wouldn't be like
Yeah.
that, but basically Eva just cut all that in the very beginning, just drags everybody's attention.
Right. Ooh, sneaky. But also she was like she also knew that Hideyoshi was dead, so she was like, playing off of that. She's like, oh my god, I think he's in trouble, even though she saw him die before her
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
Psycho behavior. Okay. Continue. Yes.
So yeah, let's come back to since we are talking about Natsuhi and Krause's death. That's the easy one. Des, do you want to go, or should we just talk about that line in the VN?
Yes, I have no fucking idea.
Oh, okay, easy. Okay, easy. So basically, like, Krause and Natsuhi is talking among themselves about, like, oh, this sucks. Like, like, now we have all these dead people. Like, Krause is like, maybe I was a really bad person, blah, blah, blah. And then Eva shows up, and Eva's like, oh my god, I have a headache. Like, Jesus Christ. And then Eva, like, and then Krause is like, are you okay? And Eva's like,
Oh.
I'm fine. And she says, I just choked a bit. Eva pushes away Natsuhi's hands to try to rub her back, unsteady to roast her feet. And then she says, I'm going to wash my face. Sorry, I fell asleep. When I get back, I'll make some more coffee, extra strong, so it wouldn't get drowsy until tomorrow
You
morning.
sneaky. You.
And then-
Eva.
bruh.
And then Krause says, yes, please do. Your coffee's more to my taste than what Gouda makes. And then Eva says, I'm glad to hear it, even if it's flattering. Cough, cough. I will be back soon.
He's like, your coffee's killer.
Yeah, so Des and I actually talked about this, but we already established in in early where Rudolph is like, could somebody shut this child's mouth up? And then Rosa's
Yeah.
like, wait, let me go find my I know Xanax for my child, or sleeping pills for my child. So it's easy at this point, it's easy for Eva basically just to steal the last stash of whatever.
Yeah, she just put some medication in the coffee and made it extra strong so that they wouldn't taste it.
Oh, that's so smart. Oh my god.
So it's really clear that probably Eva either drugged them both to sleep, like both Krause and Natsuki, and then just strangled them with a rope.
Yes. Okay, I like that. That's clever.
Because it's easier for her to do that because there's no way she can power over these two people and then strangle them. So she just drugged both of them
Exactly.
with the coffee, strangled both of them, and then dumped their body anywhere. like outside of the house. And then Sayo found it and was like, time to go do some more arts and craft with the bodies, and it drags it.
Well,
Yep.
I'm getting goosebumps. That's such a clever way to introduce like there was drugs in the mix in the first.
Wait, does any of that explain how their bodies are dry though?
Okay, so this is the problem. I don't remember when it starts raining, but like there's a few ways we can explain that their bodies are dry.
Oh, it was already raining because I think Krause is like, good thing there's a typhoon out. Otherwise, like they could burn us alive in this guest house.
Okay, either like basically like Eva basically opened the door and then stashed the body somewhere that she basically didn't think they were gonna get. Like basically, I don't know where she would put it, but like in my imagination, it could have been the type of thing where I imagined if Sayo was doing it, Sayo wouldn't drag a body around. Sayo would probably use a wheelbarrow that like they would use, like you remember in EP1, and probably just put a tarp over the body and just like drag it over so it would be dry on the way there. I don't know where Eva would dump the body without it getting wet in the first place, though. That's my only problem.
Oh, right, because the bodies are... Yeah. The bodies aren't wet.
My personal thought is Sayo would not go into the main mansion. Like, or would not go into the guest house. Like, I don't think Sayo would possibly ever want to step foot in it. That's why, in my theory, I think Nanjo opened the window. Like, I feel like that's pretty easy. Like, he could have just opened the window, just be like, hey, could you help me sneak out of this? I feel like Nanjo as like a third party wouldn't have stopped him, basically. Like, if in that scenario.
I don't know. I like my theory way too much.
But like the problem is that then we can't, like, how does the body don't get wet? I personally think,
well, it doesn't make sense with your explanation either. Like, how does Nanjo allowing George to escape make a body dry?
No. I just like Nanjo just opens the window, George leaves, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, it just means like that happens. But like, how does Eva get the body out of the mansion, or does she even get the body out of the mansion? Because just like I said, I don't think Sayo is. Do you think Sayo is gonna march into the main mansion to get these corpses? Like, I don't think so. Unless Eva is the person who's wheelbarrowing these bodies around. Maybe she pushed it to the shed. Maybe she thought it was like out of sight, out of mind. Where would she have put the body?
Okay. I got a solution for this. Which is that it is raining, right? So if you go walking around on the rose garden while it's raining with a wheel cart, the wheel cart's gonna get full of water, making it heavier. So the reason the bodies are dry aren't because Eva didn't want the bodies to get dry, it's because Eva didn't want rain to get into the wheel cart and make it even heavier than it would already be with the corpses.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, that's easy. You could just say like, Eva put a tarp over the wheelbarrow.
I was about to say,
we already mentioned
That's
this.
what I'm
it's
saying.
Clear that but then do you think Eva wheeled it to the arbor or no?
No, she didn't transport the bodies to the gazebo. That was Sayo. She just placed them somewhere.
Okay, so our concept is Eva leaves the main mansion, leaves the door open. George sneaks out. Sure, whatever. It doesn't matter. George goes out and have a party.
Yeah.
And then Eva probably goes to like the shed. She gets a fucking wheelbarrow, starts wheeling bodies around. How fucking stupid is Jessica and Battler at this point? Like, what the fuck are they doing?
Okay. In defense of this theory we are building right now, Jessica and Butler are not smart, and Eva is sleep deprived as fuck. And she's also been through shit. So none of them are thinking straight.
Here's something, wait, before you go into, I was going to say, George left the cousin's room to get coffee. Do you think he was also in on just drugging everybody? No, okay.
No,
Right.
George is definitely not in.
George isn't smart enough, huh?
George is not in on
Okay,
it.
cool.
I mean, okay, so she basically carts the body. Maybe let's just say she gets the body, carts it to like a hidden spot. It doesn't matter. Maybe a shed. Maybe she just left the two bodies in a wheelbarrow.
Yeah, that's
and
probably
then
it.
puts a tarp on top of it. And then just like leaves it there. And then basically George shows up and meets Shannon, dead body. Probably at that point he's like, oh my god, my mother has killed so many people. What the fuck am I doing? Like god damn it. And then Shannon's like, hey, want to hear about a great story about how I also killed 5 people? I at this point, like, your mom's death could rival mine. Like, you know, we both have 5 or 4 kills. No, actually, at this point, Sayo only killed 3 people. She only killed Kumasawa, Goda,
and Genji.
Genji. She's like, wow, like, I can't believe, like, if you want to part with your mother who already killed 5 people, maybe you, oh no, not 5 people, 7 people? Yeah, 7 people. Like, maybe you can be with me who's only killed 3 people.
Yeah, maybe George was just like, oh my god, I think I just saw my like, I'm glad you're alive, but oh my god, I just saw my mother transport 2 corpses. Like, I know I just saw this, but I can probably forgive her. And then Sayo's like, oh, interesting of you to say that. I have a story for you.
That's pretty interesting. And then Sayo probably freaks out anyway, kills him.
I like how in this interpretation of what happened, where George says he's okay with her mother being a culprit, then Sayo confessing to him, and then if the reason George ends up dead is because he could not accept Sayo, then this would mean George is okay with living with a murderer but not with a trans person.
I don't really know if that's truly true. I feel like it's more like the type of scenario where Sayo basically couldn't bear to hear if their answers were yes or no and just like freaked out and killed them anyway. Because I personally I think it's pretty funny if that's your theory, because it actually makes a lot of sense why Sayo would show up in front of Jessica. I know we're jumping the gun and getting a little bit too ahead of ourselves, but why do you think Sayo killed Nanjo?
I actually have no idea.
Like, why would she want to kill Nanjo?
Because he was in on the whole plan as well, right? And he's like, oh, I gotta, like, get the hell out of here before, Eva murders us.
Nanjo went in the room when Jessica and Sayo were making out, and then Sayo was like, no, I will not allow you to see this. Boom.
God.
No, for real. Probably Nando just diagnosed her with gay, and then she was like, no, not on Pride Month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I diagnosed.
Not my Pride Month.
Oh my god. Speaking about Pride Month, before we started recording, I actually have to go into a closet to record this. So, it's the end of the Pride Month now. So everybody, all the gays, go back to your closet.
Yeah, this marks the end.
Yeah, leave me a spot,
Yeah, I hope you guys used up your one gay thought the government allocated for us this month. But...
After you spend your gay thought, you don't get any more gay thoughts.
Yeah, you just don't exist anymore. It's like what the corporations think.
But yeah, so let's keep back on this. So
we'll get back to Nanjo once we get there.
Okay, yeah, we'll get back to Nanjo when we get there, but I am actually pretty happy with that. Yeah, I mean, like, it's pretty clear to me that, like, Nazi Krause's murder, Eva's not thinking about the whole ritual. Like, she's just fucking getting rid of people.
I think Eva didn't want to kill anybody. Like, after she killed Rosa and Maria, I think Eva was just like, I am not killing a single more person in, like, ever. But then the whole, like, Kirie and Rudolph ambush Hideyoshi, and so Eva is just like, fine, but this is the last time for sure. But then Hideyoshi dies, and she goes a little crazy. And then George disappears, and she's like, bro, fuck this, I'm killing everybody. I don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
But I do imagine that, like, it crosses her mind that, like, she sees the bodies in the first Twilight, and then she starts her murders, and is just like, oh, I can just blame this on whoever did this in the first Twilight.
True.
Yeah. So I think there is, like, a little bit of premeditation when it comes to, like...
Yeah, I imagine when she's like, yeah, there was a murder. Yeah, and I don't even think, like, Eva's thought about the first Twilight after all. Like, she was just like, whatever, it's just, like, they're just servants. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, they're dead now. Yeah. And I think Eva truly loses her mind. We haven't got to this part. We're jumping ahead a little bit even more. But when she realized that George is dead, her mind really shatters. She's like, what the fuck? I thought there was only this island's only big enough for one murderer.
Wait, speaking of which, before, I mean, like, I know we're jumping back, like, all over the place with murders, but when the group discovers the Rudolph, Kirie, Hideyoshi deaths, Nanjo's insisting that their deaths were instant, but Ava's like, oh, we could have saved them. But, she's deflecting pretty hard at that point, and I think that was a pretty good, like, Ava completely losing it moment, on her way down to, like, insanity.
Yeah, doing more murders. Yeah, it's pretty great. I think this is a great EP just to think about what's happening in the in the real world setting, like on the board setting.
This is a meaty episode.
Yeah, because like we haven't even talked about like the use of endless magic to revive, to bring back good memories, but instead like Sayo's kind of just killing the family members to show battle, like, oh, hey, look at how cool I can kill these people, instead of being like, hey, remember your family and how, like, rad they were?
I have a small thought I have a last small thought. So there's this phrase that Beato says when she's just like being all, but please accept me, I wanna play, bro. So she's just like, she says, well, doesn't matter. She just says something along the lines of, I cannot deceive. Everything I want shows up on my face. And I remember when I finished EP3 in the morning. Then I went to school. I sat down next to my classmate who I had been sharing my Umineko experience with, even though he was not reading Umineko. And I'm like, bro, I hate Beato. She lied to me. She said she couldn't deceive. She deceived me at the end of EP3. Like, what the fuck is this?
I know. They really North Wind and the Sun's battler.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I finished EP3 and I was like, what a bitch, Beato. Why? I trusted you.
I mean, I had this conversation with Des, actually.
Yes.
Well, Des was like,
I agree with you, by the way, now. I have changed mine.
yeah. I'm gonna explain it anyway, so I can make fun of you.
Yes.
This conversation happened. You were gonna hear this episode finally of this episode. So probably 3 to 4 months ago, we recorded an episode with our friend Dubs, who is currently reading Umineko, and at that time he just got to this part, which is the battle to the death in the hall. And in that episode, basically, Dubs is talking about how he's like, Beatrice is like really winning me over, you know, like she's being super nice and blah blah blah. Like I'm kind of skeptical about it, but you know. And then meanwhile, like, Des is, like, snickering in the background, messaging me, and was like, haha, he doesn't know he's gonna get bamboozled. Everything Beatrice says is a lie. And I was like, and then after, like, Dubs leaves.
It's not even when he leaves. You just instantly reply to me with a message that just said, is she? ? And I'm like, oh my fucking.
Yes, so I immediately was like, Des, do you really think so? And then Des was like, wait, oh no.
Yeah. I just had an awakening right there. Because, like, that's, of course, like, that's Sayo. Sayo is being herself on EP3.
Yes. Sayo's being extremely honest. Like, Sayo's basically, like, there's no way you can lie without having a pigment of truth in it, and that's basically how EP3 works. Sayo's basically being like, yeah, you know, I really can't be a witch unless you accept me. I mean, I truly believe that Umineko is great for Pride Month, because, like, honestly, what is more relatable than people trying to find acceptance and like being proven to valid to stupid straight people? Like, I mean, isn't that the whole point of Umineko?
Yeah.
Umigeiko, the VN to read on Pride Month.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Don't live by the labels people give you. Whatever.
Yeah, there should have been a Pride Month sale.
Oh, I mean, there is the Steam sale right now, so.
It feels like that game's always on sale.
Yeah, you're right. Time to gift it to everybody. Speaking of which, I got Kikoni episode 1, and
nice.
I'm never going to read it. Stupid ass. I hate Ryukishi. Dumb, stupid. I just want to, like, read it in case he, like, throws in more references into Sotsu.
Do read it.
But,
I think we're done.
Anyways, fuck Umineko. See you guys later. See cats, do crimes. Catch you next time.
Hey, bye!
Bye.
If you thought this math was like getting aggressive, like, bitch, you don't even know anything that's gonna happen in the future.
You see that one astronaut meme? It was like, you mean this Umineko is a whole math, like, metaphor?
Yes. It always
astronaut
happens.
behind it with the guns, like.
Renzo, I made that meme. What the fuck?
That meme, you know. Well, you transcended, like, into memehood. Like, I don't even know the source anymore.
Did that meme reach you? What the fuck? I'm so surprised.
It reached me through, I'm pretty sure I didn't see it through this Discord. I saw it through, like, another friend, so.
I think you saw it on Reddit, right?
I don't know. I think, like, a friend posted it in a different, like, chat. So,
I'm glad.
Congrats, Des.
I'm glad.
You're the meme witch.
I'll post the meme on the chat so that you can have it on screen, Mushroom.
He's the true meme witch. You can even, like, put it in the video in case anyone watching the video is like, what meme are you talking about?
Actually, we can't have the meme on screen because it's a spoiler, because it has a Maria in her witch form. So we'll just...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.